Welcome back, everybody. I hope you're all excellent. Today we're checking out the Yamaha GEP 50. A huge thank you to friend of the channel, the one and only Troy Naberband, for loaning me his Yamaha. When I got my SPX 90 and I did the video with it, he sent me a message and he was like, I think I've got a unit that does the same symphonic preset that yours does. So that's part of why I wanted to try this out. But before we do, it's kind of like an SPX 90, but designed for guitar, so there's distortion in here. And I really am so curious to check out what the distortions do in there. So let's get straight into it. I've got my Les Paul plugged straight into the GEP 50. I'm coming out in stereo into my Axe-FX 3, where I'm using a stereo power amp and cab simulation. Let's have a listen to preset number 1, mid-band drive. I'm just gonna get it out in the open. I don't have high hopes for this, but let's try it. So that's preset number 1. Let's try a different preset and see if we can hit pay dirt at some point. Heavy metal. That one's almost not terrible. Let's have a look at the parameters we have. Distortion at 100%. Let's turn that down a bit. And it's not very bright, even though the treble's like cranked up. So let's do that. Oh, you can set the mid frequency. Let's set that to about 2K. That sounds fun. And let's give it some mids. Let's have a listen to this. That's not the worst preamp I've ever heard in my life. Let's see what else we can tweak. We've got the bass control. Let's bring that down a little bit. And we've got a trigger level, a release. I'm guessing that's for like a gate. The balance is at 100%. So it's kind of cool if you wanted to use this as a just a distortion device in front of a clean amp. You could set the balance to say 50% and combine your clean sound with your distorted sound, which is kind of cool. We should probably try that at some point. That's way better than I expected. So that's the heavy metal patch. Let's recall some different presets. What else do we have in here? We've got punk distortion. I bet you this is just going to be a really tinny version of the metal one. Yep, absolutely no bass. Can we tweak that? So let's see, treble, mid frequency, mid gain, bass. Yeah, like no bass. I wonder if this is just a generic distortion algorithm and they've just kind of dialed in different presets. That sounds like maybe if you had an EQ pedal or something like that in front of it, you could kind of dial it in and heat it up a little bit. So let's just keep going. We got light distortion, hard overdrive, chunky rhythm. I like chunky rhythms. Let's see, maybe let's keep going with these presets. Sweet sustain. Again, these are all not very bright sounding, are they? Let's keep going because there are some hybrid algorithms where you get distortion with things like the symphonic preset. Kind of dying to hear that. Let's see, what do we got? Overdrive Hall, so that's going to be some drive with a Hall reverb. That one's also kind of cool. Let's keep rolling. Where's my symphonic with distortion? I need to hear this. Let's see, reverse distortion. That one's fun. Sounds like the reverse reverb from the SPX 90 with the distortion in there, delay distortion, distortion filter, double distortion. Ooh, double distortion. I thought it might be twice the distortion in there. Just kind of sounds like some pitch detune on there. Max delay, flange distortion. Like, I just predict this is going to be really, really terrible and really swooshy. Yeah, of course. Every preset in every one of these processors that has a flanger always sounds like that. All right, let's stop complaining. Symphonic distortion. What can I tweak here before I hear it? Distortion at 100%. Symphonic at 100%. Mod frequency, mod depth. My hand's probably in the way. Sorry about that. Release, balance. Okay, so you don't have any EQ control in here, and the distortion's at 100%. Let's turn down the balance of the symphonic setting because that's way too much. All right. How's everyone feeling about how this sounds so far? It's like slightly better than you expected, maybe not as bad as you expected, but still not great. Alrighty, that kind of sounds like it's not designed to be run into a power amp or a power amp simulation. So what I'll do is I'll bring up a stereo pair of amp sims in my AXFX 3 and we can slam it with this. So check this out, I have a pair of the Atomica High models in my AXFX 3. They give me this. Much better. Let's kick in this symphonic distortion. That's kind of fun. Let me do this. Let me bring up like a clean amp and hear this. So this is the JTM 45 model with this symphonic distortion in front of it. Yeah, Zoom 707 styles. That's what that sounds like to me. Let's see if we can get something happening where I kind of don't have the balance at 100%. So it sounded fine into a dirty amp, maybe not so fine into a distorted amp. Let's hear this. That's one of those sounds that's like so bad it's not even a character tone. Yeah, I don't know. Let's go back to the Atomica and have a listen to this kind of parallel mix. Interesting. I don't know if that's worth exploring more, but what I do want to hear is just the effects section in here. I think the distortion is, look, I'll admit it, it was slightly better than I expected, but my expectations were below 0 with that one. So, and it was slightly above 0. So, you know, there's something going on there, but I just want to hear how the effects compare to the SPX 90 itself. I'm going to be using my AXFX for all the amp tones here, and we'll just use the GEP 50 and the SPX 90 for effects. Just to prove a point that these are the same sounds as the SPX 90, I am going to play each side by side. We'll start off with the SPX 90 in each example. And to begin, let's hear the symphonic setting with a clean sound. I'll switch over about halfway through, then I'll switch to a dirty sound, and then I'll switch back. This is the gated reverb patch. Again, exactly the same parameter. Very, very cool. Let's switch over to a stereo delay now. To finish everything off, we're going to have a listen to the pitch change C preset. Pretty hard to distinguish. In a couple of cases, you could hear that like the SPX 90 was slightly darker sounding, and in a couple of other examples, it was the other way around. So I'm not sure if that comes down to, say, an impedance issue. The SPX 90 is probably more designed for line level signals, while the GEP 50 is designed as a guitar processor and set up for instrument level. You can see that on the front panel because I've had to set the input levels a little bit differently. So I'm not sure if it comes down to that. I'm not sure if it just comes down to component tolerances, but they definitely sound like the same algorithms to my ears anyway. Since the GEP 50 is so cheap, one thing that's attractive about it is if you're like me and you've got an SPX 90 and you say really like the symphonic patch, but you also really like the dual delay, you can't run both of them together from one SPX 90. So you could grab a GEP really cheap, use it for, say, a delay, use your SPX 90 for the symphonic sound and get something like So that's the Yamaha GEP 50. It can do exactly what an SPX 90 does. It does a bunch of other things. I don't think you necessarily want the other things. I think the really attractive thing is it does everything an SPX 90 does. It's just way cheaper. I've seen these for sale for less than 90 Australian dollars. So that's probably around the 50 or 60 US dollar mark. If you can get one in good condition and you just want to use it for like that symphonic patch or the gated reverbs or the delays, well worth it. It sounds fantastic. And I have to finish this video off by playing through both the GEP 50 and the SPX 90 on their symphonic settings. I've just increased the rate on the GEP 50 symphonic setting to 0.9. The SPX 90 is on 0.7, and this sounds monolithic. Thank you so much for watching the video. Let me know what you thought of this unit in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time.